4 presidents side by side, all marching for free trade. A hard sell to a stubborn Congress and a reluctant American public.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather at CBS News World Headquarters in New York and Connie Chung on Capitol Hill in Washington.
Good evening. Just one day after President Clinton's foreign policy coup on the Middle East, he's facing a huge uphill battle here on Capitol Hill on foreign trade policy. Nicknamed NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. The players, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Opponents say, NAFTA, we don't have to. They say it will cost American jobs by the thousands. White House correspondent Rita Braver begins our coverage.
It was hail to the chiefs as President Clinton trotted out 3 predecessors to help him save the floundering North American Free Trade Agreement, which would eliminate all tariffs with Mexico and Canada.
We can win this.
Mr. Clinton insisted NAFTA will create buyers for American goods, and he disputed claims by opponents in Congress and by Ross Perot that the trade pact will mean lost jobs for Americans because businesses will find it cheaper to operate in Mexico.
Every single solitary thing you hear people talk about that they're worried about can happen whether this trade agreement passes or not, and most of them will be made worse if it fails. And I can tell you it'll be better if it passes.
Each of the past presidents seemed there to play a specific part. Mr. Bush stressed that the agreement will maintain democracy in Mexico. Mr. Ford said it will stem illegal immigration. But it was Jimmy Carter who took on Ross Perot and his high-profile campaign to defeat NAFTA.
Unfortunately, in our country now, we have a demagogue who has unlimited financial resources and who is extremely careless with the truth, who is preying on the fears and the uncertainties of the American public.
The White House is trying to overcome the perception that NAFTA is the administration's stepchild, with Mrs. Clinton supporting health care and the vice president squiring government cutbacks. But even with today's big ceremony, some of the president's own supporters are skeptical about whether NAFTA will remain front and center. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
The show of support at the White House was impressive, but reality set in at the Capitol.
And I'd like to just talk about the NAFTA.
But not easy. Protesters set off a recorded laugh track.
Not from any.
And unfurled banners.
Ask these people to leave.
The disturbance was quickly quashed, but not the opposition building here to NAFTA, which has produced an odd alliance of people against it.
Mr. Speaker, who would have believed that Ross Perot and Pat Buchanan would ever team up with Jesse Jackson, Ralph Nader, and the AFL-CIO on any issue?
But NAFTA has created a topsy-turvy world here. So today, as one liberal Democrat after another came out against it, the strongest praise for today's White House ceremony came from, yes, Bob Dole.
I thought President Clinton hit it out of the park and followed by up with 3 former presidents.
On the other hand, some Democrats were not impressed.
Except for Jimmy Carter. None of the former presidents have ever been seen in a picture talking to an ordinary working person since they retired on their federal pension.
It is states where organized labor is strongest that opposition is fiercest.
NAFTA is a loaded gun aimed at the workers of this country.
So the president really needs the Republicans now, especially to counter the opposition of Ross Perot, and it sounds like that part may really get nasty.
And the sucking noise from Ross Perot's corner, I think, is from some extraterrestrial vehicle pulling his brain from his body.
So the big debate on NAFTA is officially underway, but with so many of the key players in such unfamiliar roles this time, no one is quite sure how this one's going to come out. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
In Warsaw, Poland today, a German airliner skidded off a runway as it was landing and then burst into flames. 70 people were aboard the European-made Lufthansa Airlines Airbus. Police say at least 54 escaped with injuries. 2 people are reported dead, and others may have been trapped in the German flaming wreckage. In Florida today, another foreign tourist was shot and killed, the 9th to die in Florida this year. The crime wave is now getting so much attention worldwide, that state officials say there's no way they can pull their tourist industry out of a plunging recession. Reed Galen has our report.
Another visitor just passing through Florida becomes another victim who will never go home from vacation.
This is a 911 operator. What is the emergency? Yeah, I want an ambulance. My husband's dying. We've been shot.
Margaret Jagger and Gary Colley, British tourists, have just been shot. She survived. He did not.
There's blood all coming out of his mouth, and I think he's dying.
The second foreign tourist in a week to be murdered in Florida, this time at the other end of the state from Miami. They really were just passing through rural Jefferson County, shot at a highway rest stop, apparently by two teenagers just waiting for prey. Once again, another family back home gets this news instead of a postcard.
It just seems a waste, doesn't it? For now.
Once again, Florida Governor Childs can only talk tough.
Violence and brutality have no welcome mat in Florida.
And send in more reinforcements.
The callousness of the people in the area. We're doing a good job, but it's not enough.
After a German tourist was shot in Miami last week, the governor committed more officers to a special task force and took a ride with them wearing a bulletproof vest.
That was a potent symbolic image which seemed to say to people, if the governor of the state isn't safe, who is?
And there's just no way I can stand up here and put a happy face on this one. This is going to have a very, very negative impact.
In fact, 9 murdered foreign tourists out of more than 4 million a year is a rate of violence much lower than Florida residents face.
Good evening. A British tourist.
But when violence becomes an international incident, like a kind of terrorism, it is again startling to holiday visitors.
Well, I think I'll just get in the car and keep moving.
And those of us who are not, just passing through. Reed Galen, CBS News, Miami.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News from New York and Washington. Why emerging peace in the Middle East could mean a lot more than friendship and the end of hostility.
And a new challenge on the video screen. Are your children ready for something called Mortal Kombat?
As expected, the shape is new and beautiful. As expected, it's quieter and has more space. As expected, there are dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. As expected, the automotive world once again revolves around one car, the new Accord EX from Honda. As expected.
Every day should start with Quaker Oats.
Nothing cold can steam you up and help keep you rolling all morning like hot Quaker oatmeal.
Every day should feel this good.
Why is Tux medicated pads the brand of hemorrhoid relief hospitals trust most? Because when hemorrhoids flare up, Tux provides soothing, cooling relief on contact. Tux, the brand hospitals trust most.
The day after their historic handshake at the White House, Israel and the PLO were both trying to exploit the opening and build momentum for peace. PLO Chief Yasser Arafat stayed on in Washington to appeal for support. He asked leaders here on Capitol Hill to repeal laws barring U.S. aid to the PLO, claiming that 1 million Palestinians are starving in the occupied territories.
Also today, as expected, Israel signed a framework agreement with Jordan designed to lead to peace and greater cooperation. Israel Prime Minister Rabin was also trying in other ways to make peace pay off as he headed home today. As correspondent Bob Simon reports, Rabin was working to win a foothold for Israel on the westernmost edge of the Arab world, Morocco.
Prime Minister Rabin continued making history and new friends today. He dropped in on Morocco on his way home. As they say in Casablanca, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Diplomatic relations are expected soon, and Israelis are dreaming of the day when the borders will be open with their neighbors, when the old Cairo-Beirut railway will no longer be bricked up at the Lebanese frontier. It was probably this dream which moved Cabinet Minister Moshe Shahal to walk halfway across the Allenby Bridge and stare wistfully into Jordan, seeing not only peace, but prosperity.
The potential is so great and so enormous that sometimes it sounds like a science fiction.
How about Israel as a high-tech Silicon Valley, a major port for the Arabian Peninsula, a giant food exporter, and more?
We're talking about vast projects, multinational projects, regional projects, which will transcend any border.
One is a canal from the Mediterranean to the lowest point on Earth, the Dead Sea, to generate electricity and business. I'm standing in Israel. That's Jordan over there. And this is the Dead Sea, a body of water that no one's been able to cross in 45 years. But if peace comes to the region, people here believe the Dead Sea will live again with tourism and commerce. It's saltier than Salt Lake, and its black mud attracts pilgrims from Europe and the United States who want to look young and thin again. Israelis hope the Arabs will join them soon. Here in Sodom, of Sodom and Gomorrah fame, entrepreneurs are already tracing blueprints for the biggest casino in the Middle East. Bob Simon, CBS News, on the Dead Sea.
Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including the looming battle here in Washington over the Clinton health plan and abortion coverage.
Last year, Ford Motor Company had 5 of the 10 best-selling new cars and trucks in America. And to help keep your car running like new, we designed Quality Care Preventive Maintenance. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere but at your Ford or Lincoln Mercury dealer. Everything from changing your oil and filter to brake jobs and shocks. Quick, expert, and competitively priced. Quality Care, where the quality continues.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash somehow.
Hello?
Rita.
It's midnight. I need $500. Now. I'll call Western Union.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH, and you can send money from home.
My sometime is now.
Western Union.
Oh, yeah.
The fastest way to send money.
This is hydroplaning in less than an inch of water, and they're being pulled by Goodyear all-season AquaTread radials. AquaTread's deep groove design channels water away as you drive for outstanding traction. Hydroplaning, AquaTreading. Think about it.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas and recommended Mylanta Gas.
Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
Every 2 days, 27 kids are killed by guns. What will happen in the next 48 hours? The season premiere, Wednesday.
U.S. health researchers are out tonight with what they call the best evidence to date that vitamin pills can reduce the risk of cancer. This is based on a 5-year study done in China. It involves subjects taking vitamin E and beta-carotene. Researchers note that these results, while significant and encouraging, do not automatically translate to Americans.
When it comes to health care reform in America, it was only a matter of time before abortion policy exploded in the national debate. And here on Capitol Hill today, did it ever? Correspondent Linda Douglas is following the story.
White House officials confirmed today that the president would accept a national health plan that does not cover abortions, if that's what it takes to get the plan passed. Democratic women in Congress warned the Clinton plan must provide coverage for abortions, or they may not support it.
We expect the president to unequivocally endorse the retention of pregnancy-related services, including abortion, in the health care plan. A lack of commitment by the administration to these services would be unacceptable.
The administration's draft plan doesn't mention abortion, though it does cover pregnancy-related services without spelling out what that means. White House officials say the plan would maintain the status quo. For most women, abortion would be available with the consent of the doctor. For poor women in the Medicaid program, abortion would not be covered. Groups on both sides of the issue charge the Clinton health plan is deliberately vague about abortion.
I can understand they're wanting to be vague at this point, but the vagueness isn't going to avoid controversy.
Anti-abortion groups think the language in the Clinton health plan actually sanctions abortions on demand.
We will fight the president every step of the way on this, because what he is proposing is that every American be complicit in every abortion that is performed in America.
Senior White House officials said today they will not let the Clinton health plan rise or fall on the issue of abortion.
And to the frustration of pro-choice groups who supported Mr. Clinton, those officials said, in this case, abortion coverage should be decided by the Congress, not the president. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
With healthcare reform looming, healthcare benefits at work are, of course, a key issue. Case in point, the United Auto Workers and Ford now trying to reach a new contract agreement before tonight's midnight deadline. CBS News Money correspondent Ray Brady has that story.
Lonnie Coleman admits he's a lucky man on 2 counts. He survived a complicated heart operation and a $42,000 hospital bill that he didn't have to pay.
Having to face a $42,000 hospital bill, I don't know that this surgery would have did me any good.
The Ford Motor Company's medical plan picked up his entire bill, just as it did for most of Earl LeVake's successful cancer treatment.
Would have put me in the hole for a long time trying to pay $20,000 or $30,000 back.
In contract talks going on at Ford headquarters, Detroit's Big Three would love to put the brakes on a plan that picks up virtually every penny of the medical costs of nearly 1 million workers, retirees, and their families.
There's more Blue Cross in the average U.S. car than there is steel.
Incredible, but true. Estimates vary, but most analysts say about $700 of the price of a Ford car is for medical benefits, $800 to $900 for Chrysler, and for General Motors, a whopping $1,500.
The companies need to break on these costs, which are increasing rapidly.
Still, auto workers have long memories. Since World War II, when wage controls were on, time and again they have given up pay hikes for better medical benefits.
We've earned them, and that we deserve maintaining them.
What would your choice be, an increase in pay or to keep the medical benefits you've got?
Medical benefits, no doubt in my mind.
More people than just auto workers may have a stake in the talks going on here. Some experts say that if the auto companies can cut back on workers' medical benefits, other companies may take that as a signal to do the same. Ray Brady, CBS News, Dearborn, Michigan.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Eye on America. Tonight, the workers on the front lines. What NAFTA could mean to people on both sides of the border.
Sorry.
It was delicious.
How about a cappuccino?
You have a cappuccino machine?
This may take a while.
From Maxwell House. Maxwell House Cappuccino. The magic without the machine.
This is great. John, show me how the machine works.
If you have questions about hearing loss, discover the answers in this booklet, Straight Talk About Hearing Loss. The booklet is yours free by calling now. It answers many of your questions, including, what is nerve deafness? How can I find out if a hearing instrument can help me? And how can I help a loved one realize that they may have a hearing loss? You'll find the answers to these plus much more when you call 1-800-435-8400. That's 1-800-435-8400.
Wilford Brimley for new Quaker toasted oatmeal.
Did you forget your oatmeal?
Nope, this is my other oatmeal.
Well, in this house, there is no other oatmeal, just Quaker. Toasted oatmeal? That's not hot Quaker oatmeal.
Nope, that's cold Quaker oatmeal.
New Quaker toasted oatmeal, original or honey nut. There's grains of real Quaker oatmeal on every oatmeal flake.
Well, it sure is noisy.
That's my favorite part.
Quaker toasted oatmeal, huh?
It's my other oatmeal.
Another tourist is killed in Florida. How safe is the Sunshine State? Plus, we'll talk with the Discovery astronauts from space. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
Back now live in Washington, where some Navy officials say it could be the biggest cheating scandal ever at the U.S. Naval Academy in nearby Annapolis. Unconfirmed reports say at least 125 midshipmen may be implicated in the theft and distribution of an engineering exam last December. CBS News has been told that because of the incident, the Navy may be forced to change the Academy's honor system.
Another growing debate tonight over ethics and morality. This one involving violence on the video game screen and big, big money. Critics say that the brand new bestseller is not just a bloody game, but a bloody shame. Correspondent John Blackstone looks at this hot-button issue.
The fastest young fingers in America have a new challenge this week. They can take home the bloodiest video game yet.
Either knock off his head or rip off his head and you could see his gizzards.
With graphic decapitations and body parts dripping blood, Mortal Kombat went on sale yesterday. At $60 to $70, it's expected to become one of the biggest-selling video games ever.
Because of the technology, the fighting's become more realistic, and therefore we have felt that they should be rated.
One version of the game sold by Sega comes with a first for a video game, a parental guidance rating. Sega rates Mortal Kombat MA-13. That means, for a mature audience, 13 and over.
It doesn't mind me. Blood and gore, you know, that's the usual things.
It ratcheted up one more notch, from passive violence to interactive violence to who knows what.
The biggest game maker, Nintendo, found Mortal Kombat so violent, it's selling a sanitized version.
Maybe when they get to the point where it seems like you're really killing a person, then I think it would bother me. But right now, it just doesn't seem that real.
But stand by. A computer game called Night Trap gives a glimpse of the realism that lies ahead. It's the relentless advance of technology, leading the younger generation into a future some may find troubling. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
You're looking at the birth of a very different form of antacid, the Mylanta Gel Cap. Easy to swallow with absolutely no chalky taste. The potency of Mylanta antacid now in a gel cap. My doctor said Mylanta.
If you're taking the leading prescription medicines for asthma, ulcers, or high blood pressure, and you need a pain reliever, the one doctors recommend most is Tylenol. Not aspirin, not ibuprofen. Talk to your doctor about Tylenol.
Day 2. Details, details, details. They think of everything. After a day of sightseeing, Royal Caribbean had iced tea and juices waiting for us at the dock. Back on the ship, an artist was carving an ice sculpture for the midnight buffet. That kind of attention to detail seems not the exception but the rule. We could all learn something from the way they do business at Royal Caribbean.
You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
To get rid of stains on your carpet, even old stains, you can get creative. Or you can get scientific with Carpet Science. Carpet Science has a unique emulsion cleaning formula that gets out old stains like red wine, grape juice, mud, coffee, even spaghetti sauce. Getting rid of old stains? Hey, it's not rocket science. It's Carpet Science from SC Johnson Wax.
The good news, diets rich in antioxidants may benefit your long-term health. The bad news, the average diet is not rich in antioxidants. Today's news, Protegra, the new antioxidant supplement that's all antioxidants. More vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. Protegra, with more antioxidant support than you get from a regular multivitamin. To boost your antioxidant levels, even if you take a multivitamin, add Protegra to your daily routine. Protegra, the good news in antioxidants.
You may recall our recent Eye on America report and a 48 Hours broadcast about the plight of two young brothers in Oklahoma who shot their own father to death. Herman and Drury Dutton say they had, quote, just cause because they say their father had molested their sister. Today, in a plea bargain arrangement, a judge ruled the boys will not go to jail. Instead, they will be paroled to foster homes and have court-ordered counseling.
Tonight's Eye on America should make every working person in this country sit up and pay attention. Here in Washington today, as you know, the president opened up his sales campaign for approval of the North American Free Trade Agreement. But many workers who know nothing comes for free are wondering if the price of free trade will be their jobs. Bill Lagatuda looks at the two sides of NAFTA in tonight's Eye on America.
come from Mexico to improve ourselves. And then we have to go back to Mexico. That's kind of sad.
Rebecca Bigos, an American citizen living in California, makes roughly $30,000 a year as a supervisor in a sewing plant and is worried that NAFTA will take all of that away from her.
It's a scary feeling, very scary.
A lot of Americans are scared that if the historic trade agreement passes, it will be a boon to Mexico, a disaster for the U.S., that while illegals will continue to head north, American jobs will go south. What NAFTA does do is eliminate the high tariff barriers the U.S. now pays to sell goods to Mexico. In theory, drop the tariffs, American firms make more money and will need to hire more people.
It does not mean jobs being sucked south of the border. What's happening is that more and more products are being sucked south of the border due to growing demand.
But opponents charge NAFTA will only encourage more American companies to relocate in Mexico because hiring people there is cheaper.
You can probably train 50 Mexican workers for the price of one United States worker. That's where the investment's going to go for the future. It's a drain on the United States.
This factory near Tijuana, Mexico, is what's known as a maquiladora. It was built by an American firm, the Square D Company, to take advantage of the inexpensive cost of labor, and they make electric circuit breakers. So, are these Mexican workers depriving Americans of jobs at home?
We've got 650 workers in this plant, and there have been not a single layoff in the United States as a result of that.
Ed Brecky, the plant manager, says the company had no choice but to move one of its assembly lines here. Getting the work done in the U.S. was too expensive. Martin Munoz is one of the Mexican supervisors.
What's your salary?
In pesos or in dollars?
In dollars.
It's about $260 more or less.
$260 a week?
Yeah, a week.
That's about a third what supervisors make at that sewing plant back in California, where the owner thinks his business will be destroyed.
It will be the end of the Southern California garment industry, made in California, made in Los Angeles, will disappear.
On the other hand, some American firms who tried Mexico are now coming home. Quality Coils of Connecticut found that Mexican labor was cheaper, but not as productive.
To produce in Mexico was more costly for us than to produce here in the States.
And there are no guarantees Mexico will become a huge new customer, though companies which make computers and medical supplies are counting on it.
The kinds of products that Hewlett-Packard makes are precisely the kinds of products that Mexico wants and needs in order to modernize its economy.
And that's one of the fundamental beliefs behind the treaty, that America will benefit if its neighbor to the south is not as poor, not as desperate, an equal partner. But emotion seems to be fueling this debate.
What NAFTA's opponents have done, ultimately, is that they have been exploiting the deepest fears that Americans have, that they're losing control of their economic destiny.
Never before has a trade treaty created so much anxiety. Workers on both sides of the issue, on both sides of the border, believe their lives will change if NAFTA becomes the law. In Tijuana, Mexico, Bill Lagatura for Eye on America.
And that's our news for tonight. Join Harry Smith and Paula Zahn first thing in the morning for an exclusive interview with the shuttle astronauts as they prepare for a walk in space. Dan?
With Connie Chung in Washington, Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Experience CBS News.
This is CBS.
Michael Jackson, former servants come forward.